I guess I have a really interesting story in the sense that I had to grow up very fast in my
Okay.
20s. Yeah.
Wow.
My like I grew up very wealthy where my mom, like I said, was an entrepreneur. She owned a clothing manufacturing company in Los Angeles that did very well.
Right.
Um, but then by the time I was 12 years old, they lost everything because my parents invested in international stock. And because of the dot-com bubble bursting, the stock
Um,
completely plummeted and they lost pretty
wow.
much a significant amount of their net worth. And
Wow.
so we had to like move out of our home, right? And downsize. And we were on like food stamps at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so going from, an 8-bedroom house with like a full-time maid and chef and all of that to, yeah, like pretty much like low income, right, was pretty jarring.
Hey, folks, welcome to Get Rich 101. I'm Sekou. I'm an author and two-time stroke survivor. I lost everything, but I'm rebuilding my wealth through the stock market, and by talking to people who have done it already. So please tune in. Today we have Grace Lim, and we are meeting each other for the first time just now, and I'm going to tell you more about her in just a second. Hey Grace, how you doing?
Hey, Sekou, I'm good. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, happy Friday. So introduce yourself for the people who don't know you yet.
Yeah. So my name is Grace Lim. I'm currently based in New York City, but I'm actually born and raised in Southern California. The last 10 years I've been in Austin, Texas, but I just recently moved to New York City last September. So I'm relatively new to the city.
Wow, you are new. Wow. You figured
Yeah.
you're northeast west. Are you
Yeah.
figured?
So I'm really proud to say I've never took the subway the wrong direction yet, only
Wow.
through the wrong entrance. Yeah. So I feel
Okay.
like, yeah, I'm getting the hang of the subway system here.
That's great. That's great. All right. So tell us how we met. I told
Yeah.
people that we just met just now, but tell us how we met. The commonality that connects us.
Yeah, for sure. So I met your fiance through
Yes.
Real Roots.
Yes.
She's absolutely lovely.
Oh
Has
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, amazing energy. She's actually the facilitator of Real Roots. So Real Roots is a service where women can go on, they have an app, or you could go on the website and you fill out a survey. And the survey you complete is a lot about just kind of what are your goals in terms of building community. What are your preferences in terms of, are you introverted, extroverted? Like, what do you like to do for fun? All of that. It's a pretty extensive survey. And
Right.
then after the survey, you go to your first meet and greet. And in that meet and greet is essentially like speed dating, where you meet
Wow.
like 8 to 10 women that night. And you're just having a lot of one on one conversations and group conversations. And at the end, if you are interested in continuing with that group because you really vibed, you can. You would have to pay a fee. And then from there, you meet with that same exact group every single week for 6 times.
The same
So,
group. Same group
yeah,
of people.
same exact group. Yep. And
Wow. That's cool.
so the really goal is for you to make meaningful connections and friends. And so since I just moved here, I thought it was the perfect opportunity. And what I love about it, like I said, is you have a facilitator every week
Right.
that helps that group really come together.
Okay. And how did you meet my fiance?
Yeah,
How
so
did you-
that's how I met her. She was our facilitator from week one, and it's crazy to think we actually just finished this week. That
Wow.
was week 6, and that was our last meeting with Fee, your fiance. So I'm
Wow.
really sad that I won't see her
I
next week.
know.
We have one more meeting all together with the women, but it's just on we're on our own, so Fee will
Okay.
not be
Okay. So tell me one little thing, something that you remember about Fee that you can share, some quote or some story, something you could tell about Fee.
Oh gosh, yeah, she has such a magnetic
Yes,
personality,
she
like so much
does.
warmth. Yeah, instantly I felt so comfortable in the group because of her, truly.
Yeah.
Um, but she connected us because there was a question she asked the group, which was, "What do you want to create in 2026?"
What do you want to create in 2026? Okay.
Yeah, so
What was
you
your
can
answer
say,
to that? What
"Huh?"
was your answer? What was your answer to that?
Yeah, so that's where it gets interesting. So
Okay. That's
Um,
good.
I showed up to this group and I was thinking to myself, I was like the fourth person to go, right?
Right.
And I thought to myself, I'm just gonna say that I'm gonna run my first 5K in April, which is true, I am.
All right.
But
That's great.
then after each of the ladies went, and your fiance was so great at making sure that the environment was really safe and comfortable, I
Hmm.
changed my answer on the spot. And
Really?
yeah, so I decided to be more vulnerable
Okay.
and I talked about that what my true passion is and what I'm really excited to create in 2026 is to get more into angel investing because my mom was actually an entrepreneur, but I work at a hedge fund right now.
Wow.
I am a recruiter there where I focus on engaging with PhD students for quantitative research roles.
Okay.
And, then my dad's side, they're all in like 9 to 5, very stable jobs in either like being a lawyer or a doctor. And so I always lived in these two worlds, right? Where when I talk to my dad's side, they're like, "Oh, you're doing great. You have a very stable job." And then I go to my mom's side and they're like, "What are you doing? Why are you not working for yourself?" Right.
Right.
Um, so it took me some time to really figure out what do I really want to do. And for me, creating access and pathways for people that are underrepresented in this world is really important to me. And I think growing up, I never really had Asian American women like leaders to look up to. And so I'm really passionate about investing in founders and co-founders that are either like Black, Latina, LGBTQIA women, right? So that the world can see more representation. And so she heard that, and then I think she was like, "I really need you to connect with my fiance as well." And she connected me with another person who's really into angel investing, and then she even gave me another resource. So from that conversation, I gained so much by just being more truthful and more vulnerable instead of going with my original answer I had in my mind.
Well, bravo, Fee. Bravo, Fee, for getting that out of you. That's great. So I think there's one I'm trying to remember. I have to send it to you later, but there's one investor that I know online on YouTube. But I'll send that one to you because she does some amazing things. But I want to hear more about how you decided to do this. So you were you doing something else? Because you said you were caught up in both worlds, two worlds, right?
Yeah.
So were you doing something else before you switched over?
Yeah. So I'm not currently, I wouldn't consider myself an angel investor yet,
Okay.
but I do invest in other things, right?
Okay.
So I started off my career actually in education in Baltimore City. I was a public school teacher
Mhm.
through Teach for America, and I did that for several years.
America, right? I remember that. I remember
Yeah.
that program, right? Yes, and so it was a program, right? Tell me
Yes.
more about that because I remember it vaguely from my high school days.
Yeah, so Teach for America is a nonprofit organization that actively recruits college students right
Yes.
after college, right, to basically teach in low income communities throughout the
Mhm,
United
mhm,
States.
mhm.
They have definitely scaled and they have been in other countries now. But yeah, at the time in 2011, when I graduated from UCLA, the economy was very bad. And so, and also I was really passionate about teaching. And so I decided to start my career there. 3 years later, a recruiter just randomly reached out to me, and I that's why I decided to pivot into tech. They're like, "Hey, have you tried tech recruiting? I think you actually be really good." And so that's when I joined Google, and I was there for 6.5 years.
Okay.
And then yeah, throughout my tenure there, I started leading recruiting teams, and then toward the end, I was heading up our Google Cloud diversity recruiting team there.
Okay.
And then since then, I, joined startups. I was at Stripe and then at MongoDB, and then now I pivoted to finance last May. But throughout my career, I, never really thought about finances, I would say, until 5 years ago.
Mm.
It really happened when I would go to lunch at Google, and a lot of my colleagues were male, and I would be at lunch with them, and they would talk about investing all the time, and they'd be like, "This
Mm.
index fund, this bond, this stock," like,
Right,
and I would
right.
have no idea what they're talking about. And so I just got really sick and tired of being silent at the table. And so I just started studying on my own. Like, I took classes, I read books. I would, YouTube was such a useful resource as well. Talk to other women, and learned a ton of about finances, and started investing in not only like paper but also in real estate. So yeah, so that's kind of how I built my wealth. And then now I'm in a place where I want to do something slightly different, which is, angel investing.
Did you just say invest in paper?
Yeah, so like stocks, right? Index funds, things like that. Yeah, I of course started investing in there. And then yeah, and then now then I started doing real estate too.
Okay. So tell me one of the best ones you've done so far, or one of your favorites. Your, your,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I would definitely say real estate, because when I jumped into it, I knew nothing. And so much of it was I did it through my gut, and
Wow.
luckily it worked out. What happened was I was in this really cool group. It's called Factora. Unfortunately, like now they changed direction. They no longer have it available. But Factora, is their mission was to help 1 million women achieve $1 million in net worth. And
Mm.
so you would attend like live webinars and every week, and then they would also pair you with other women one on one to keep yourself accountable. They have a lot of assignments, right? Things like that to essentially teach you how do you invest and grow your wealth, right? It's not going to come from a W-2 paycheck job. And
Right.
so yeah, so that was really interesting. And then in one of the sessions, they always had breakout rooms, right, virtually through Zoom. And then in the breakout room, there was a girl in there, and we were just chatting. And then she messaged me on Slack saying, "Hey, like, love to grab coffee with you. I think we're pretty similar, because the interesting thing is you had to disclose like your net worth in each of these calls." So
Wow.
be very transparent, right, about where
Yeah.
you're at. And we were pretty similar in terms of our net worth at the time. And yeah, we met up, and I don't know, somehow we just really vibed. I just felt she was like a best friend instantly. And she said, "Hey, I actually was really wanting to do like real estate investing in Austin, because it's a really great market to do it right now." And she's
Okay.
like, "What about you?" And I said, "Yeah, I actually would be very down." She's like, "Cool, do you want to go 50-50 on a house?" And
Wow.
so from that
Hold
conversation,
on,
and
hold on, hold on. So, what do you mean by do real estate? Like, in what aspect are you doing real estate?
yeah, so since we were just starting off, we looked at single family homes in Austin,
Okay.
where we were originally looking at homes that have a big enough lot in the back that we could put an ADU.
An
Um,
ADU. ADU.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so because we're like,
What's,
oh, that would be
what's an
great
ADU? What's an
having
ADU?
yeah, a attached like unit to the house, or like a
Ah,
detached unit. Yeah, this
okay.
so it'd be like an extra essentially home in the back, right? And
Okay.
so we're like, okay, let's try that. But it was very, very difficult to find, to be honest, because you need certain zones to be open to that. And
Okay.
so we just decided to go with a single family home, which was 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom. And she's like, "Hey, do you want to go 50-50 on this like down payment?" And then we definitely took time to renovate it too a little bit.
Mm.
And we knew nothing about renovating a home, and we did the whole thing by ourselves with the help of a friend.
Wow.
And so
Construction and everything with hammer and nails.
Yeah, exactly. So it took us 12 weeks total to do it all,
Like
but
12 weeks is very fast.
yeah, that's like,
Ooh,
well,
that's
there wasn't a ton that needed to be done on the house, to be fair. Like the flooring
okay.
was good. It was just like the cabinets, bathroom vanity, like closets, things like that. So, yeah, that took 12 weeks. And then we rented the home out to a tenant in like 3 days after we posted it.
3 days?
Hmm.
Whoa. The house must have been nice.
Yeah, it was in like a good neighborhood, right? So it was in South Austin, which is highly sought after, especially by young professionals. It was only a 14-minute drive from downtown. So yeah, I think we just picked like a good area, and the home was really cute. It was built in the 70s. And so yeah, we ended up doing that, and we still have the home today, and the tenant has been there now for 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so got a good track record with her.
Yeah. So you bought that house and then you bought another house and another house and another house? Or how did it go?
Yeah. So to be honest, like after that first house, I was pretty traumatized in terms of how much work it is
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
renovate, right? So
Mhm. That's,
stressful.
that's real. That's real.
Yeah, incredibly stressful because we don't have the subject matter expertise. We're
Yeah.
not a contractor, right?
Right.
And I also think my business partner and I are just very similar. Like what I'm not good at, and like it's kind of similar, right? We both don't have a ton of knowledge around construction and all of that. And so um, she decided to buy another home in Miami by herself, which was awesome. And
Okay.
then I went a slightly different direction. So I actually ended up doing two things. One is I ended up getting connected with someone who runs a real estate syndicate in New York. And
A real estate syndicate? What does
yeah,
that mean? What's
yeah. So a syndicate essentially is someone who is operating by purchasing a property, like, and then they'll get investors
okay?
to like invest in it. So she
Oh.
was specifically looking at 4 or 5 unit places in Brooklyn because she knows Brooklyn very, very well, and she's like lived here pretty much all her life. And so she came to me being like, "Hey, I'm actually gonna purchase this property. Here's what the plan is. We're gonna renovate it, and then we're gonna actually sell it right away." Because a lot of times syndicates, what they do is they'll purchase a property, renovate it, and then put tenants in for like 4 or 5 years, hold it for a little bit, and then sell it. But this one, she's like, "I'm not going that route because that actually doesn't make sense. And also, being a landlord in New York is quite of a headache because it's a tenant friendly state."
Tenant friendly, yeah, okay.
So she's like, "We're gonna just purchase it and essentially flip it and sell it."
Okay.
So I was down for that, and I really liked this idea because one, the returns looked really good just based on market data at the time, and then two, I love that I didn't have to do the work. Like,
Yeah, right. Put
given
that
them,
hammer down. Put that hammer down.
yeah, and I was like, I don't need to do that.
Right.
And so yeah, I decided to invest in that property with her, with 10 other investors. It's still going right now. And then a year or so after, she came to me with another property in upper east or upper west side in Manhattan. And so I decided to do that one too.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. So my fiance told me something about you. I'm not sure if I got it right though. Now, were you able to retire your parents? Did I get that right?
Yes,
You did.
I did. Yeah.
Please tell me how you were able to do that.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, sorry. Actually, I didn't even tell you what the second thing was.
Oh, yeah, please.
Yeah, the second one was like then instead of continuing real estate investing, like just like buying single family homes, what I did is also I decided to manage properties for my friends. And so, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so I like manage their properties because they ended up moving out of Austin. So right now I'm like currently managing a couple properties there. So I decided to one go with the real estate syndicate and then also just manage some property to get extra revenue for myself. So
Okay. Okay. Sounds
yeah,
fancy. Sounds
yeah,
fancy.
yeah. Yes, my parents. So, yeah, I guess I have a really interesting story in the sense that I had to grow up very fast in my
Okay.
20s. Yeah.
Wow.
My like I grew up very wealthy where my mom, like I said, was an entrepreneur. She owned a clothing manufacturing company in Los Angeles that did very well.
Right.
Um, but then by the time I was 12 years old, they lost everything because my parents invested in international stock. And because of the dot-com bubble bursting, the stock
Um,
completely plummeted and they lost pretty
wow.
much a significant amount of their net worth. And
Wow.
so we had to like move out of our home, right? And downsize. And we were on like food stamps at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so going from, an 8-bedroom house with like a full-time maid and chef and all of that to, yeah, like pretty much like low income, right, was pretty jarring at that age.
Sure.
And so, but it honestly was probably one of the best things that happened to me because it completely changed my mindset and my work ethic.
Really.
Uh, yeah, before that, I was like a straight CD student, and overnight I turned into like a straight A student, right? Because
Wow.
yeah,
So why? Why?
I was just so determined and angry, right? Like to
Mm.
get back what they lost. And
Mm.
so,
Okay.
and probably it's like Asian values too, is that we are always told, like, well, in order to really succeed in life, you need to get a great education, right? You need to do well in school. And so I thought I just kind of put my head down and did that.
Okay.
And just decided to work really hard. And then they kind of slowly started to get better financially. But then by the time I was 19, so I'm in college, right? They both lost their job at the same time. Again, the economy wasn't great. And so since then, since I was 19 years old, I've been fully financially supporting my parents. So I was working 2 jobs in college. And then obviously that's actually why I left education, because as you know, teachers unfortunately in this country don't make a lot of money. And so
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I needed to go into an industry or field that would make substantially more. And so, honestly, Google absolutely changed my life. In the 6.5 years I was there, I was absolutely able to turn my family's life around. So, yeah, by the time I was age 27 is when I bought my parents their first, like, or not first, but like I bought my parents a home. Um,
Wow.
and
Age
yeah,
27?
yeah, yeah. And then I fully retired them when I was 25. And so,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Let me understand this though. You retired them working for Google or doing something else for you?
while I was working at Google, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this a salary is what you're saying.
Yeah, salary, sure, but the great thing about tech companies, which I'm sure everybody knows, is that you get equity, right? And so if
Ah,
you look at Google stock just in the past 5 years or 10 years, it has significantly increased, right? And so
okay.
it's honestly holding it
Yeah.
has done wonders for me. Yeah. And so just holding that stock, yeah, it has been tremendously helpful. But yes, but I did use the stock to make the first down payment on their home.
Okay. So let me be clear now. So you own Google stock and you sold off some to buy them their house, right?
Yes.
That is brilliant. That's brilliant. You
Yeah.
heard me say that I'm trying to learn by teaching myself the stock market. So yeah, I appreciate that quite a bit. I
Yeah.
appreciate that quite a bit. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So you were able to retire your parents, and then um, and then what next? Like what's next for Grace?
Yeah. To be honest, because I did that, I was very burnt out, right?
Mm.
Yeah, by the time I would say I was 30, I was pretty much done. I was like, I don't think I could work anymore. Because I worked in probably the hardest I ever have in my 20s, right? Just because I was trying to, get their life back, but also trying to really establish myself in the tech industry and was very motivated by financial stability. And then what I realized, which was like that light bulb moment, is when I took that investing course, right, with Factora, is like, you're not gonna get rich by a W-2 paycheck job, right? So like, what
Yes.
am I
Say that
doing?
again. Say that again, please.
Like, you're not gonna get rich by a W-2 paycheck job. It's
No, you are not gonna get rich by
yeah.
various
And
jobs.
then I was like, what am I doing then? And so, yeah. So since then, I've really taken time. Like, yes, I still have a W-2 paycheck job, right? Which I'm
Mhm.
very grateful for. But I really make sure I spend a lot of time outside of work, taking time to think through where can I strategically put my money so it works for me,
Okay.
so that I can, retire early. So,
Okay.
my goal is to originally it was when to retire by 40, but I don't think that's going to happen because of like the inflation.
Right.
But I do hope that I could retire by age like 45. And
Okay.
so, yeah, so that's why, I decided to join a ton of different groups out there just to learn from other people as well, just like you, of like, okay, where are you putting your money? Like, how are you investing? How did you like create your wealth, like build your wealth, things like that. So, yeah, so I've been doing real estate syndicate, and then now I'm trying to do like angel investing or maybe investing in certain funds. Yeah.
Yeah. So my answer is really basic. So I had a stroke, as
Yeah.
I mentioned, but the stroke left me with amnesia, and so I forgot everything.
Oh my
Every
goodness.
Yeah. So what happened was I was I was at my mom's house. I had a stroke in Nashville, so since I was at my mom's house, and I walked into the living room, and up on the TV was me, and I was like, "Is that me?" I was trying to explain to her because I couldn't speak then either.
Yeah.
I was trying to explain it, and she was like, "Yeah, that's you." And I was like, "What? How?" And she's like, "You got your own show," and I was like, "Me?"
Oh,
And so I started watching it vigilantly. I watched myself vigilantly, and I
yeah.
was talking to myself, me talking to myself about socks, and I was like, "Nah, that's crazy." The things that I was advising myself to do, that's crazy. But
Yeah.
they worked though. They worked though, and and so I had to really get into the two mindsets, like the mindset of just learning and the mindset of going forward into the spaces of experimentation. And so I've been, experimenting a little bit here and there, but I don't have job income though, and so I had to like use what I've had. So I'm trying to balance things out. So yeah, so that's really that's really my answer. I've been trying to juggle it just a little bit here, a little bit here, and make it work off of what I have
Right.
already in terms of stocks. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So you had to relearn. Uh,
Yes. I had to
that's
relearn how to speak because I could not speak, and you can still feel it sometimes when I'm speaking. So I could not speak. I did not have any memory. I All I remembered was at the time was waking up in a room, and I didn't realize that it was a hospital room yet. It was just a room. I was like, why are there tubes connected to me? Why doesn't my right arm work? Because my right arm was not working at the time. Obviously, it's working now, but
yeah.
it still hurts. It still causes me pain when I move it. But yeah, I had to start all over. I had to teach myself everything from ground zero. So I really tell myself that I'm 3 years old
Yeah.
because that my stroke was 3 years ago.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you have an incredible like story and like journey of rebuilding. Uh, what would you say in terms of, obviously you were so entrenched in like finance before, like with as you're relearning, what was yeah, like I would say what was the biggest thing you had to relearn? And like,
Yeah, the thing you already said, you said no, you're not going to get rich doing a W-2 job, right?
yeah,
You're not. That was key to me, and so I interpreted what I was saying then because back then myself was like I was very active. I was much more active than I am now. I was like
yeah,
right, and I was giving myself all these tips. So I was giving myself tips, but they were like here and there. And so what what impressed me the most was you're not going to get rich having a W-2 earning job, and you have to pay yourself first.
Oh
You
yeah.
have to pay yourself first, right? You know, because if you don't, you're lost. And I'd heard that so many times with other people, and I was always like, I'll do that later. I'll do
Yeah.
that later. But you have to do it now. You have to do it now. Did you
Right.
have any experience with that? Pay yourself first?
Yes, that's also what they taught us too in that course I was taking. It's one of the first things they taught us was, you should once you hit that paycheck hits your bank account, make sure you have an auto draft that like goes into like another savings account or another checking account that literally pays yourself before you pay all of your bills. And it's such a simple concept, but not a lot of people do it.
No,
Yeah.
no. And you just took it a step further. You actually talked about automatic. Like I'm
Yeah.
reading The Automatic Millionaire now by
Oh,
David. I forget his name, but I'm reading his book now, The Automatic Millionaire, and I have been like trying to do it myself, kind of do it myself, right? But
yeah.
if once you set up automatically, oh, you can breathe much easier. You can breathe much easier. So I just
Yeah.
went into Charles Schwab yesterday and set up automation factor, so that it's automatically going to come out of my bank account and go
Yeah.
to Charles Schwab every month. And
That's all.
that was just yesterday. I just
Yeah.
figured that out. I was like reading the book, like, oh my goodness, I need to make it automatic.
Yes. I mean, you can start at any time. It's never too late. So that's great that now you have it automated so you can set it and forget it.
Yeah, thanks. So tell me something that you would advise me to do. What's something that you would have me do?
Ooh.
What's
Um, oh, I guess the question I'll have to ask you is most people, right? Most people's biggest thing out of their budget is first rent or your mortgage. And the second thing is food, like groceries.
Yep.
Like, would you say that is true for you too? Or what would you say is like your second biggest line item expense?
My second biggest line item, I don't really know what my second line item is. Like, I've been blessed. I've been blessed by people taking care of my rent and my groceries. So I've been
Yeah.
blessed because it's going to run out soon. but
Yeah.
but for now, what I'm trying to do is try to figure out my money fast, so that by the time it runs out, I have my money ready to go. you know.
Yeah.
So really, I'm just trying to mess around with my stock market, making it work for me.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You're like really making sure that your investments are working for you.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so for I think for most people when I have these conversations, right,
Mhm.
they're always like, "Oh yeah, like biggest thing is like my rent and mortgage, and then
Mhm.
the second biggest one is food, whether it's eating out plus groceries, right?"
Right.
And I remember I got this really great advice from another woman when I like met her through that course as well, and she had a separate like debit card, like checking account that again automates like right when her paycheck comes, she'll allocate $500 per month to that like auto draft, right?
Hmm.
And then anytime she eats out, orders on Uber Eats or orders groceries or gets groceries in person, she only uses that debit card. So
Oh,
then it's automatically budgeted, right? And she
wow.
cannot go over because so oftentimes it's so easy when you have a credit card. It feels like fake money, right?
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
just go out and you swipe, or like you're not conscious of like how much things are costing, and you're just
Right.
ordering whatever, or even your groceries. And so she always had a very specific set budget for food in
Okay.
general. And so I thought that was brilliant. Right? I
Yeah,
was
that's
like,
good.
that is so true. I was like, I just use random credit cards.
Yeah.
Time I go out and eat, I don't really look at, how much did I even spend this month on food,
Wow.
right?
Okay.
So I did an exercise and I was like, actually, how much do I even spend on food? And I'm
Right.
a giant foodie, right? So I love eating out. Like that gives me a ton of joy. I have a very social life, so I'm always eating out and at bars or whatnot. and I tallied it up, and it was like close to 2K a month that I was spending. And I was like, what?
Wow.
I had no idea, right? Like I thought it was definitely under 1,000. And
Right.
so, but there was like some months I was at like close to 3K. Like I was like, this was bad. And so since then I've been doing that and it has worked wonders. Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying to track the money to a specific card? Like,
Yeah. So like putting
okay,
it into another checking account or
okay,
another account and then having a debit card that
for
like,
the account.
yeah, and just using that, right, for your
That's
grocery.
smart.
Yeah.
That's smart. That's
Because
smart.
you know that that's like your second biggest line item. I mean, the rent, the mortgage thing, not much you can do there, but at least the food thing very much in your control. And I know some people go extreme to like figure out like how to really cut cost in the groceries, but I think for me it was just not being like wasteful. And sometimes I would get groceries, don't eat all of it, and I'm still eating out, so it's like double dipping, right? So just being really cautious of how much you're spending on some of these things is super important.
That's good. That's good. That's good. So we're about to run out of time. Tell me what question you would have for the next person on this podcast. The next person I'm talking to about
Yeah.
how what will be your question for them?
Ooh, I would say best finance advice they ever received.
Mm, that's
Yeah.
good.
And then I
So
would say follow up to that would be what's the best investment you've made?
okay. So
Yeah.
your two in response, real quick. Will be your response to that question? First question.
Um, honestly, best advice was you're not gonna get rich off of a W-2 paycheck job.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
While
Okay.
spending all my time there, right?
Right.
um, best investment I made, and it's gonna be so boring, is buying and holding.
Buying and holding.
Buying really good stock, like companies that you believe in, that you believe will be here for a long time, and just holding it. Right.
Okay.
So yeah, so some of these companies like Google for sure, Amazon, I would say Nvidia, right? Like
Yeah.
like some of
Yeah.
these companies, like you believe in what they're doing and what their mission is, and just buying in that and holding it as long as you can.
Yeah. So real quick, Fee, my fiance, she says that she was into NVDA. Is that what you said? NVIDIA?
Nvidia,
NVIDIA?
yeah.
And I told her no. I was like, oh
Oh,
no, oh no, oh no.
yeah,
So you gotta know what you're doing. Know what you're doing.
yeah.
And
Why did you say, "Oh no"?
I don't even remember this. I don't even remember this. It's part of my amnesia period, so I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
But I'm doing better now. I'm doing better now.
Good. I'm so glad to hear that.
Okay, Grace. So thanks for coming here. Thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing with me. If you're watching, please like and subscribe. And I'll see more from you, Grace. Right? We're gonna see each other and hang out, right?
Yes, we'll stay connected, and thanks so much for having me today.
All right. I'll see you guys later.
Okay. Bye.